Hello everyone, this is Fabio Carvalho and you're watching our Adisra SmartView course. Today's topic is recipes. Think about two different cake recipes. You can have similar ingredients but in different quantities. You can also have different temperatures and time in the oven. On the SmartView, you can prepare those distinct recipes very easily using the recipes feature. In this video, I will detail the configuration and the two alternatives available to create recipes. In the first one, we only need to configure the recipes document. Let's create a new document. We're going to right-click on the recipes and add a new one. The first field is the recipe path. You can either select a path or add a tag to that field. If you want different recipes to be saved or loaded using the same document, for example the cake recipe, you will need a tag on that field. If you just want to store some configuration values in disk, you can use a relative path by selecting it on the button. You can also use absolute path in case your application is being distributed to different machines, for example. So uncheck for absolute path and check for relative path. The next option is the type. It can be default type, which will be used to load and save tags values, or it can be a smart recipe, which allows you to create a template text and will load tags into placeholders. The smart recipe allows you to create a template letter and load different names and addresses, for example. For more information, you can check on the help documentation. We also have the recipe save mode, which can be a text file or XML format. Then we have the trigger for save and load. You will need a tag there. It can be any numeric tag type, and as soon as you change its value, the trigger will be executed. At last, you need at least one tag to generate the recipe. It can be a tag which is a data type or a simple tag. If you choose a data type, all the tags that are inside the data type will be saved and loaded. On the menu, you can also export and import recipes, and this feature can be found in different documents. As a second alternative to manage recipes is using the System Functions library. We still need a recipes document, but the recipe path and the load and save trigger will be done by the functions. For our demo, we're going to use the second alternative. So we still need this document to be saved, but we don't need this recipe path. We're going to keep the type as default. The save mode will be a file. The trigger for load and save are going to be empty. And we're going to configure just the tag. I already have a tag that I created previously, which is called configuration recipe. I'm going to select it and let's save. I'm going to call it configuration recipe. This is the name of the document and this is going to be important for the functions. And I'm going to show you now the tag so you can see what we are actually saving. Let's open the tags. Under factory we have factory globals and this is the tag that we're going to be saving. Its type is a beer recipe, so it's not one of those basic types, it's a data type. And the data type was configured here, beer recipe. It contains 5 members. 4 of them also are data types, and the last one is a string. So I'm just gonna open the boiling recipe data type so you can see that we also have more tags inside. So we have minimal temperature, max temperature, and they are integers. So as soon as we save our recipe, we're actually saving all of those tags. Now let's take a look at the System Functions library. I'm gonna just collapse here and expand the System Functions library, and I'm gonna double click the SVRecipe. We're gonna need one function to save the recipe and another one to load it. For this demo we'll just save it, but in the next video we'll be loading it, because we're gonna be using a dynamic tag to hold the name of the recipes. Okay, so you can see we have many options. We have 4 loads and 4 saves. So we need to make a decision which one we're gonna choose. Some of them are synchronous, such as load and wait and save and wait. The others are asynchronous, meaning that they will be executed and the script won't stop until completion. In our demo, I really don't care because it will be a simple script, so I will use the synchronous functions. Now we just need to decide if we're gonna use this load with one parameter or this one with two. Same decision for the save. The first parameter is common for the four of them. So it's just the name of the recipe, which is the name of this document here. And the second parameter is the file path. This one is important since we want to use the same document to save different beer recipes. So the synchronous with two parameter functions are the ones we're gonna use. It's gonna be this load and this save. With that decision, we can use it in the recipes screen. Let's open and configure the save button. It's under graphics, we have the recipes screen. I'm gonna scroll here and this is the save button. Let's open the scripts. I'm gonna use a split here so you can see all the scripts that we have. I'm gonna use the mouse up and we can start writing down. As I said, we have SVRecipe.save and we're gonna use two parameters. First one is the name of the recipe document. We called it configuration recipe, and the other one contains the full path where we're gonna save the file plus the name of the file. The name of the file is gonna be the text box that we have here. So we just need to concatenate the path plus the file name. The path we can get from the svapplications.project path that contains the folder of our project, plus I'm gonna create a new folder just to keep the recipes, beer recipes, and the separator here, plus the tag now. The tag is under configuration recipe.recipe name. Okay, so we can finish the script. I'm gonna save it just to be sure that it's correct. Okay, no errors. And since we're creating a new folder, I'm just gonna put in the OnWhile of the screen that if the folder doesn't exist, I'm gonna create it. So I'm gonna select the screen. Let's go to OnWhile and let's start the script here. I'm just gonna put some comments. Check if beer recipe folder exists. If not, create it. And we have some C# functions that can help us. I'm just gonna put on a string the folder path, beer recipe folder. I'm gonna create a variable that receives svapplications.project path plus beer recipes. And now we can check if not directory dot exists, if the directory doesn't exist, and we can copy this variable here and pass as parameter. If it doesn't exist, we need to use directory dot create directory, passing the same variable, and this will make sure that the folder is gonna be there. We can also print the name of all the recipes that are inside the folder. It's gonna be good for debugging. So there's a function under directory that is called getFiles that's gonna return as the name of all the files inside this folder. It's gonna return actually the entire path plus the name of the file plus the extension, but we can remove the path and the extension and we're gonna keep only the name. So it returns an array of strings, so string array file entries equals directory dot get files. We're gonna pass the same variable here. Now we have all the entries, and I'm gonna do a for each to print them. For each string RCP in file entries, and there's a function also in system functions library, svapplications.output, and this function is gonna print to us on the logs. So we want to print, let's put recipe equals and plus RCP contains everything I want to remove, so we can use path.get file name without extension and pass RCP. And that's what we need so far. Let's run it and see if it's okay. If not, we can go back and fix. Okay, we don't have any errors, ready to run. Okay, it's running. So let's go to the recipes. We're gonna create a new recipe just for testing. I'm gonna call it Pilsen, capital P. We want some Pilsen malt. I'm gonna put 50 here, a Vienna as well, 25. Water, I want 20 liters. The boiling temperature will be between 68 and 74. And for fermentation, I want a Windsor yeast. I'm gonna put 14. Let's click Save. And we can check first in the Windows Explorer. It created already our folder, beer recipes. You can see this is the path of my project. Let's open it. And we have a Pilsen RPF. And this is the recipe. Let's just add it to see what it contains. It does have all the tags that I explained and inside all the data types. So we have boiling recipe between 68 and 74, minimal temperature and max temperature. We have the correct yeast, Windsor true, the other one's false, water volume 20 liters. The malt is correct as well. We have Pilsen and Vienna. And we also have the name of the recipe, which is Pilsen. Let's close it now and let's check the logs to see what's printing there. It's correct, it's printing recipe equals Pilsen, that's what we did on the output. And let's create a new one, just for fun. Now I'm gonna click add new. It's gonna be a lager now. I'm gonna put Pilsen again, but now 40. And this other malt as 60. Water is gonna be 20 again. Boiling temperature between 65 and 70. And I'm gonna use the other yeast as 15. Save it, and we can see already in the logs that it's printing both Pilsen and lager. So in the folder we have both of them. So that's a good example on how to save recipes, and in the next video we're going to be loading them into the tags, and we'll complete this page. I hope the recipes concept is more clear to you after this demo. Remember, the best way to learn is actually to get your hands dirty and implement, so give it a shot and see you next time. Okay, bye bye.